Hey ho, how you doing? Where you been? Probably doing hoe stuff, cause there you hoe again. Let me stop. I got in my cup Jack and Coke, cherry Coke. I accomplished something today, so I had to drink. Y'all know everybody gotta give warnings to their parents, so excuse my parents. Excuse my broken nail. I am doing a story time. I'm sorry if I sound like I'm whispering, but my son is in the other room sleeping, and I damn sure don't want him to hear this story. I'm doing a story time about when I was 13. I think I was 13. It was either 12 or 13. I think I was 13. When I ran away. I ran away for 2 months. I was originally gonna do the side chick thing, but I said that could wait. I figured I'd do this while I remember. So anyway, when I was younger, I had what you would call a hood upbringing. Like, we were poor, roaches, no food, mad of us, mad kids. My mother had mad kids. This is that and the third. So, I didn't have a father in my life or whatever. But I can say that I had a rough upbringing, and I was in and out of foster care. There's points I was in and out of foster care, whatever. All of us. Like I said, my mother had 10 kids. I cannot recall my mother actually beating me like that. You know what I'm saying? There was instances where my mother put her hands on me. That's a story for another time. But my mother was very, to me, in my opinion, for me to be that age, this is what I thought of my mother. She was very verbally, emotionally, abusive, everything else abusive, neglectful, all that. I'm not gonna say why. I'm not gonna say what her situation was or whatever. But that was the situation. So I remember when I was like 13, it was the end of the school year, and towards the end of the school year, I got extremely sick. When I say sick, I mean I was on bed rest in my house for like 2 weeks. I didn't eat. And I think before that, I was even in trouble, so I was supposed to be in the house anyway. But I got really, really sick. Really, really sick. It was something with my side. I think it was my appendicitis. I think it was appendicitis or whatever. I'm not sure. But I know I had lost a lot of weight. I looked bad or whatever. So I started to feel good or whatever. And I remember, I don't know if y'all know, like back then, I'm 29 now. So when I was going to school before, they made us return the school books, because y'all know funding for public education was like, so they would make us return the textbooks. If not, we'll get in trouble, especially if we're going back to that school or whatever. So at the time, I had like this 17-year-old boyfriend. His name was Alex. That was like the first person I ever fell in love with. I could truly say I was actually in love with him or whatever. And I lied to him, and I think I told him I was 16 or something like that. I think I lied about my age. I think I told him I was 15. And at the time he was 17. So to him it wasn't a big deal. So, long story short, the day that I ran away, before that, my mother was like getting in my ass about certain stuff. Like I said, she was very harsh. And although, you know, I was acting out, it was times that I wasn't acting out. She just wasn't the best person that she could be. You know, I don't want to get too much into detail, but it was a bad situation for me and my brothers and sisters or whatever. So I've always been a sensitive person. Like, even to this day, I may not cry, but you have to watch your words with me. Like, if I feel like you're being disrespectful, I'm gonna check you on that shit. I'm not one of them people that tolerate disrespect like that. And this is probably the reason why, because my mother used to talk to me all crazy, you know what I'm saying? But when I was younger, I was extremely sensitive. So my mother never really had to beat me, because all she had to do was talk to me all harsh or call me out my name, and it was like hurt my soul or whatever. So it was this one week where she was just going in, like everything. She was just, it was so much negative energy, negative. Like I said, it was a really rough house, no food, dirty clothes, you know, all types of shit or whatever. But that's how I remember it. So this one morning, matter of fact, I think I planned this shit a week in advance. I don't know. But I remember thinking to myself, I cannot take this no more. I literally cannot take this no more. And I was planning it out in my head. And I said, you know what? I got the perfect opportunity. I'm supposed to go return these textbooks, so I can tell her I got to return the textbooks. Remember, like I said, I was on punishment, but I was also sick. So I couldn't leave the house anyway, but I was starting to feel better. Just so happened I was starting to feel better when I had to return the textbook. Seriously, no funny shit. So, let me take a sip of this shit for this shit. I ain't mean for this to be a long story time, but I think it's going to be a long one. Anyway, so I had my stuff, I think the night before I waited till everybody was asleep. And one thing about me is I was really particular with my shit when I was younger. Like I said, I had a lot of brothers and sisters or whatever. So I would hold on to my stuff because we was always forced to share shit. So when I got little things, I would hold on to it. And I would literally like have my stuff compact in the corner. Nobody could touch my stuff and whatever. So this time I made sure I had like a few summer clothes around summertime. And I made sure that they was clean. And I packed a few outfits. And I packed this bag or box or whatever the fuck, I can't even remember what it was. I packed it real good, right? And in the morning, I go to sleep or whatever. In the morning, my fucking heart, I remember this distinctly. My heart was pounding out my chest so hard. I was so scared to get up and get that box and leave, y'all. I was fucking petrified to get up and get that box and leave. By the time I wanted to get up, my mother got up and was on her bullshit. Getting up in the morning, screaming, calling everybody, you know, all types of bitches and nasty bitches, and just going on her tirade or whatever. So I'm like, fuck, what am I gonna do? I said, I gotta get out of here. I have to get out of this place. So I was like, the crazy shit is she checked the box and she was like, why is these clothes here? Why are they folded up or whatever? So I was like, I don't know. I washed them up. I don't know. Maybe I'm even lying about what I said, but I know I said something to her. So I said, Ma, I have to return these books. If not, we're gonna get in trouble. We can't go to the next grade. I think that's what they actually did. Like they made, like you got in big time trouble if you didn't return the textbooks. So I explained it to her, and looking back on it, my mother kind of knew something was up or something was off, but I guess she just didn't follow her instinct. I can't say that's true or not because I never asked her, but it was kind of, it felt as though, me being a mother now, looking back at it, it just seemed as though she saw something was off, but maybe she just didn't follow her instinct. I don't know. So she gave me, I got the textbooks. I had this white dress on and this nice shirt, and I had my hair all done, and I made sure I looked good that day. And I went and returned that box, and I went to a payphone, and I called my little boyfriend Alex, and I told him, I said, I ran away and I'm not going home. So he's like, what you do that for? This, that, and the third. So he started going, he's like, what you do that for? And I was on the payphone crying, and I'm like, I can't go back home. This, that, and the third. And I was like, I was explaining the situation to him or whatever. So he picks me up, and he brings me close over there. If you're from the Bronx, you know what Burnside is or whatever. He brings me, yeah, but I think that's over there by Burnside. It's in that area, vicinity, on that side of the Bronx or whatever. So he bring me to some lady house. He didn't bring me to his house because Alex had it rough his goddamn self. He bring me to some lady house, and I think her name, I can't remember her name. Some big fat light skinned lady, big old lips. Then she had a baby boy, and then she had like a little girl. The little girl was probably like 9, 10. So he brings me to her house, and he explains that he was like, yo, she ran away. Oh, no matter of fact, he was like, yo, she don't got no place to go, whatever, whatever. So she's sitting there looking at this nigga like, what the fuck? This was a grown lady. I'm not sure why he even knew her. But, so the lady just let me stay there. And I remember seeing her stove was mad dirty, like mad dirty. So I scrubbed her stove, like I cleaned the house. I used to make, she didn't take too good care of her son. Well, in my opinion. So when I went and got some fruit and I made him like some real authentic baby food. Like when I was young, I was really like domestic or whatever. That's one thing, I had to be with the condition my mother was in. So, so I was making sure that I was helpful. So Alex would leave and he would come back and, get me food. And he was, he was doing his thing for a while or whatever. I ran away for 2 months. I remember I was gone for so long. It was one night Alex came in and he kissed me on my cheek. And this is how homesick I was. He kissed me on my cheek. And I woke up and I looked and I could have swore it was my mother. I just looked and I was about to say, mommy, like that. And I remember seeing it was him. And, I was glad it was him, but I was like disappointed. I was just hoping that it was my mother. She found me. She kissed me on my cheek and everything was going to be okay. But whatever. I was extra tired. I was extra exhausted. I was out of the house for a while. They put up flyers for me. They had flyers everywhere. The whole time when I ran away, after a while, Alex stopped coming around. I don't know where the fuck he went. He was young himself, so he stood around for a while. I'm not gonna lie. He looked out, but he just left me basically. My clothes was worn and raggedy. It was a point in time I was walking around in the street with a long wife beater. No lie, just a wife beater on as a dress. And on that block I had met some girl. I think her name was Denise. I'm not sure. She was a light-skinned girl. She had a nice body. She was tall. Big lips, like bigger than mine. And I used to run with her in the street and she would tell me certain stuff that she was doing. And how one time she met Cameron and I don't know, she was doing a little strange shit for change or whatever. I ain't really get down with her like that. Like, I don't know, I ain't never really rolled with her like that. But I remember like hanging with her, going to her house. And she was the one that actually gave me clothes. Because by the time I went back to my house, it was time for school. That means it was getting cold. Remember, I left my house when summer was starting. I left with a whole bunch of summer clothes. Those shits ran raggedy. Then I started wearing a wife beater outside, like I said. So, I guess the lady referred me to her, and that's how me and her hooked up. And she gave me like some old Jordans, some sneakers or whatever. And I would make sure I wash my clothes in a tub and wear my clothes or whatever. But this time it's getting close to school starting back up. And I remember even before then, like in the summertime, I ran away. So I wasn't really trying to walk anyway because I didn't want nobody to see me. You know what I'm saying? So there was a few times that people saw me from the block, but being that they knew my home situation, they never went and told my mother. Or I think somebody went and told my mother like, yo, don't worry, your daughter's okay. And I'm not sure how that conversation went, but they basically, like a few people saw me. And even one time I was in a sneaker store and this guy was like, you the girl on the poster right there. I was like, yep, that's me. But I knew from then, like, I had to watch where I was going or whatever. So to get to the point, I finally went home when it was time for me to return back to school. I did not want to go home. I took all day to go home that day. It was dark outside. I don't know if I called somebody or I went to somebody else's house first. I think I went to one of my best friend at the time. I think I went to her house first or something like that. And then she woke me up the block because I was scared to walk up the block to my mother's house. Rightfully so. My mother was like, by the time I saw my mother, she looked like she lost weight. She was balding. Her hair was falling out. My little sisters and them was there, and they looked brand new to me. You know, you don't see somebody in a while, they just look bigger and brighter or whatever. Yeah. I was giving my mother like the cold shoulder because I was scared. Like she was asking me like, oh, where you get those clothes from and where were you or whatever. And I never really told her to this day. Like I'm 29, I never really told my mother where I was. But yeah, like when I got back to the house, like some of my brothers and sisters was already gone. It was only my little brother and sister there at that time. Like my older brothers, I don't know where they went. It was like I said, we was in and out of foster care. My mother was losing her apartment, all types of shit. So I think everybody just started to go about their way or whatever the situation was. So, is there anything in specific? Yeah, the lady I was staying with, she used to turn tricks, I think. Because she would leave at night, she'll come back, you know, she'll have a couple of dollars or whatever. Her daughter was mad fresh. I see her daughter. I be seeing her daughter sometimes. She mad big. And I saw that lady years down the line, and I said hey to her, whatever. We was talking, she invited me to her daughter's party. They was still over there doing the same old things. I appreciate the fact that she let me stay in her house. What else? Alex. Did I see Alex again after that? I don't think I did. I did see him years later. Years later. And he was bummy. He was fucking bummy. He was in a shelter. His mother was in a shelter. He was with his mother. He didn't have money for a Lucy, a cigarette. Like I went to his house. We was chilling. We did whatever. And then it wasn't the same. And when I say Alex was the love of my life at that time, like this was somebody I really fucked with. Like he looked out, we looked out for each other. Anyways, yeah, so that's the time I ran away. I ran away for 2 whole fucking months. They had posters up of me in every fucking thing. I don't know what moral of the story I can give you. Do I regret it? I can't say that I regret it, only because, like I said, the situation, I could not, my emotional state as a child was like really fucked up. Of course, nobody should put their mother through that, or I wouldn't want my son to do that to me or whatever. But it is what it is. It really is what it is. I did what I did. It taught me how to be independent, resourceful, to watch my surroundings, and that's it. I don't know. I mean, I didn't mean to hurt my mama, but one thing about me is I don't stay nowhere I don't feel comfortable staying if I have the means to leave. Real talk, like I've been like that since younger. So anyways, that is the time that I ran away for 2 whole fucking months. Okay. I'm not sure how I even survived after Alex left me. I was talking to dudes. They were taking me out here and there, older men. Alright, yeah, I probably left a few details out, but I can't remember. But I just had to get that story out the way. So anyways, like and subscribe for more story times. Peace, y'all.